For this loom knit beanie project, we'll be using a circular loom and a hook. When many people pick up on the hobby of loom knitting, they purchase a loom kit that contains these 4 sizes. Most times an adult hat, you would use the largest loom, which is the pink one in this particular set. I'm making this for myself and I have a smaller head and thinner hair, so I'll be using the second largest in the set, which is this orange one. As you can see, the orange loom is the only one that I currently have pegs in. All my other pegs I keep in this bag, and the reason I do that is that I like to color code my loom before I start a project. And while this might seem like a very tedious task, I highly recommend it, especially for beginners. And you will see why as we work our way through this project. So to set up my loom, I'm going to put a blue peg in every other slot. If we have our loom marked well, and then we sit it down for a text message or an email or to check a notification on our phone, when we pick our loom back up, we'll know what stitch that we're working on without having to go back and study the previous stitch to see where we're at. So I'm going to work my way around here, switching out every other to blue. Now I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to change out this orange peg here for a green peg because this is going to be my starting peg and I want to be able to keep track of that one as well. For this project, you want to use a super bulky number 6 weighted yarn. You could also use 2 strands of worsted weight if you choose, but I love this super bulky yarn. To begin, we're going to make a slip knot, and if you're unfamiliar with slip knots, I'll put a video up here that you can check out. Now I'm going to place the slip knot on this exterior peg to give us a bit of an anchor to work with. And then we're going to be doing an E-cast on. And for me, I like to turn my loom up on the side and work this way. Just seems to be the easiest, most comfortable way. We're going to go behind the peg and wrap around. Behind the peg and wrap around. Behind and front, behind and front. Let me give you a different angle here so that you can see how it looks from the top. And you just keep doing that all the way around until every peg is wrapped. In the second round, we're going to begin the completion round of the cast on. So here's my starting peg, and I'm going to bring the yarn straight in front of the peg and on top of the previous round of yarn. Then I'm going to take my hook and bring this bottom piece of yarn and pull it over top of the peg. Now you can see that the yarn is secure on the loom. We want to continue that all the way around the loom. And I like to pull a few down in a row here. As you can see, it makes it a lot easier to work with. Then just keep repeating, going in front and then pulling the yarn over. So I'm going to finish up this round and I'll meet you at the end. To start this round, we're going to do an E-wrap. Then we'll take the yarn from the bottom and pull over the top. Oh, and I forgot, after I've cast it on, I can remove this anchor here. So for our second peg in this round, which note it's a blue peg, we'll be doing what is known as a purl. For a purl stitch, we're just going to lay the working yarn down here below the loop that's already on our peg. Then we're going to do what I like to call digging. So we're going to dig down this little slot, and then we're going to hook the working yarn and slide it up through the interior side, and this is going to form a new loop. As you can see, we have the new loop now hanging off, and we need to take our old loop off of the peg and replace it with this new loop. The next peg, we are back to an E-wrap. Pull it over on top of the E-wrap and over the peg. Now we're back on a blue peg, and all the blue pegs will be doing the purl stitch, where we dig down through the loop, grab our working yarn, pull it through and bring it up. Then take off the old loop and replace it with a new loop. And we will continue E-wrapping the orange ones, doing our knit stitch, and purling the blue ones all the way around to the end of this round. And this is going to be forming the brim of our hat. When you get to the end of the round, you will repeat this type of a round 6 to 8 more times, depending on how large of a brim you want. I did 7 rows for my brim, and you can see here the pattern that's being formed. Next we'll begin working on the rest of the hat. Now that I have some yarn inside here, I'd like to push everything down before I start, and it's easy to go in from behind, as you can see here. And I just kind of pull that down with my fingers. For this round, we're going to go back to the E-wrap, and that's what we're going to be doing on every peg of the round. Since we're going to be doing this for every peg, we can go ahead and do the E-wrap all the way around the loom. So then all we have to do is pull the bottom loops over our E-wraps. Some people might do 4 or 5 at a time and go ahead and start working from there, but I'm going to show you my favorite way to do it. I'm going to E-wrap all the way around. And see, here's our starting peg. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the bottom and knit it over top of the E-wrap. Then what I like to do is go ahead and do 2 or 3 pegs. And then I will hop back to this last peg of the round, and I will go ahead and knit 2 or 3 this way. So that way my yarn is secure on both sides, and I don't have to worry as much that the E-wraps might come off. Once I've done that for this round, I'll go back and continue on around the loom. And this is a normal pace. I'm not speeding up the video right here. So you can see after you get a little bit of practice with loom knitting, you can get through this pretty quick. And I also think that securing both sides there at the beginning of the round really helps with my speed. I've gone all the way around my loom again, and I'm going to put my hand inside and pull these loops down. For the next round, we're going to repeat the last round. I'm going to E-wrap all the way around, then knit off the first 3 here. And I'm going to hop back here and do these 3. Then I'll continue to move forward and continue the rest of the round. Now for our next round, we'll be doing a purl knit on every peg in the round. So we don't want to have our loops on our loom pulled all the way down to the bottom like we did for the last 2 rounds, but it does help if they're down a little bit further so that we can dig into them easier. And I'm the type of person that like to get in a groove, so I'd rather do all of this at first and pull these down a little bit so that when I'm actually ready to start working the stitches, I will already have this part of it done. Okay, now ready to start my stitches. We're going to bring our working yarn below the loop, dig down, pull up a loop, take the old loop off, and put the new loop back on. Repeat that on every peg around the loom for this round. And for the rest of the hat, we're going to keep repeating the previous 3 rounds. 2 rounds will be the knit stitch, where we E-wrap and knit off, and 1 round of the purl stitch. Keep working this until you get to the length that you want for the size of the hat you need. Here I am at the end of my project. I finished my last purl round, but I like to end on an E-wrap knit stitch round, so I'm going to do 1 extra round of the E-wrapping and knit stitch. Now that I've completed that round, it's time to close up this hat. The first thing we need to do is cut off the tail. I always make a longer tail than probably needed, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. Then I'm going to put the yarn in the darning needle, and I like to use the ones with the big eyes because I do use a lot of chunky yarn like this, and it makes it easier to thread it. I'll put a link below for some needles that have bigger eyes. Now all we need to do is insert the needle below the yarn and up through the loop. Pull that through and do the same thing all the way around. Go underneath, pull through, underneath, pull through. Once I get all the way around the loom, I'm going to go back into my starting peg 1 more time. And now we can remove all of these loops off of our pegs. And some of your pegs will pop off as you go. This is a very old loom set, so that happens. It's okay. This is what it's going to look like when you get it off of your loom. We're just going to take the string and give it a pull to cinch the top of this hat together. Next, I will put the yarn back in my needle, and I want to take it straight down the middle so that it comes out on the inside of the beanie. And then I'm going to start working my weaves in, closing up any holes along the way that I may see. Make sure to tie it off a few times. And the only thing left here is to weave in and tie off this end here at the beginning where we started. You have the options. You could put a pom-pom ball on top if you'd like. And at the end of this video, I'll put a link to a video showing you how you can make your own pom-pom ball if you want to check that out. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe to keep informed of when I release new videos.